Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Miller, I'd like to start with you, if that's all right. I want to ask you a particular question regarding YouTube's app age rating. Now, Google Play has the app rating set at teen, meaning 13 and up, while the Apple Store has it rated as 17 and up. Can you tell me why this disparity exists? That is, if Apple determined that the age rating for YouTube ought to be 17 and up, why did Google determine that its own app should be rated as teen, meaning 13 and up?
Senator, I'm unfamiliar with the differences that you've just outlined, but I would be happy to follow up with you and your staff once I get more details on this.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to know about that. It is a simple question. I understand you may not be able to answer it right now if as it stands, you don't have the information, but I would just like to know why that difference exists and whether you agree or disagree with the fact that Google has rated its own app as 13 and up, while Apple is rated as 17 and up. But I'm happy to follow up on that in writing or otherwise. Ms. Stout, I want to address a similar issue with regard to Snapchat. Now, Snapchat is rated 12 and up on Apple, and it's rated teen on the Google Play Store. Any idea why there is that disparity there?
Senator, that's a very good question, and I for some reason I've heard somewhere the reason why Apple lists at 12 and up. It's an app that's intended for a teen audience.
Right. And why is there a disparity between the age rating and the content that's available on that platform?
Senator, the content that appears on Snapchat is appropriate for an age group of 13 and above.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute, because I beg to differ. In anticipation of this discussion and this hearing, I had my staff create a Snapchat account for a 13-year-old, for a 15-year-old child. Now, they didn't select any content preferences for the account. They simply entered a name, a birth year, and an email address. And then when they opened the Discover page on Snapchat, with its default settings, they were immediately bombarded with content that I can most politely describe as wildly inappropriate for a child, including recommendations for, among other things, an invite to play an online sexualized video game that's marketed itself to people who are 18 and up, tips on, quote, why you shouldn't go to bars alone, notices for video games that are rated for ages 17 and up, and articles about porn stars. Now, let me remind you that this inappropriate content that has by default been recommended for a 15-year-old child is something that was sent to them by an app just using the default settings. So I respectfully but very strongly beg to differ on your characterization that the content is in fact suitable for children 13 and up, as you say. Now, according to your own website, the Discover is a list of recommended stories. So how and why does Snapchat choose these inappropriate stories to recommend to children? How does that happen? How would that happen?
So, Senator, allow me to explain a little bit about Discover. Discover really is a closed content platform, and yes, indeed, we do select and hand select partners that we work with. And that kind of content is designed to appear on Discover and resonate with an audience that is 13 and above. I am unfamiliar, and I've taken notes about what you have said that your account surfaced. I want to make clear that what content and community guidelines suggest that any online sexual video game should be age-gated to 18 and above. So I am unclear why that content would have shown up in an account that was for a 14-year-old. But these community guidelines and publisher guidelines that are on top of those guidelines are intended to be an age-appropriate experience for a 13-year-old.
Right, right, I understand that. You have these community guidelines that are there, and they note that advertisers and media partners in Discover agree to additional guidelines. What are these additional guidelines? I mean, I can guess only that they permit these age-inappropriate articles to be shared with children.
Senator,
How would that not be the case?
So these additional guidelines on top of community guidelines are things that suggest they may not glorify violence, that any news articles must be accurate and fact-checked, that there is no...
Well, I'm sure the articles about the porn stars were accurate and fact-checked. And I'm sure that the tips on why you shouldn't go to bars alone are accurate and fact-checked, but that's not my question. This is about whether it's appropriate for children ages 13 and up, as you've certified.
Absolutely. And Senator, I think this is an area where we're constantly evolving, and if there are any instances where these publishers are surfacing content to an age cohort that is inappropriate, then they will be removed from our platform.
Okay, so you review them? What kind of oversight do you conduct on this, and what?
We use a variety of human review as well as automated review, and so I would very much be interested in talking to you and your staff about what kind of content this was, because if it violates our guidelines, that kind of content would come down. And just, Senator, one last thing. While I would agree with you, tastes vary when it comes to the kind of content that is promoted on Discover. There is no content there that is illegal. There is no content there that is hurtful. I mean, it really is intended to be a closed ecosystem where we have better control over the type of content that surfaces.
Now, Madam Chair, I just have one follow-up question. I just realized my...
Yes, go ahead,
I'll be
Senator
brief.
Lee, and then our colleague, Senator Lujan.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
waiting.
Madam Chair. So Snapchat has assured its users that it doesn't collect identifying data on them for advertising. How does Snapchat then decide what content is pushed to the top of their Discover page?
So, Senator, if you go into your Snapchat account, you have the ability to select preferences, it's interest categories. And there are several interest categories that a user can select or unselect if they wish. That could be they like, to watch movies, or they enjoy sports, or they are fans of country music. At any point, it is completely transparent, and a user has the ability to go in and select what they like, and that determines the kind of content that is surfaced to them. If there is any content that they don't like, they can uncheck or check, and that really generates the kind of content that a user in Discover would see.
Okay. Okay, my time's expired. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I really do think we've got to get to the bottom of this. These app ratings are inappropriate. We all know that there's content on Snapchat and on YouTube, among many other places, that's not appropriate for children ages 12 or 13 and up.
Well, I thank you, Senator Lee, and